There are a lot of things happening in West Ashley, from growth to infrastructure to flooding to traffic. I sit down one-on-one with the executive director of West Ashley United, Teresa Tidestrom, for a special edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. And listen to this interview later on iHeartRadio. Teresa Tidestrom, it's so good to see you.
It is great to be here again.
Yes, indeed. Obviously, you're back here on Quintin's Close-Ups because you're the executive director for West Ashley United.
Yes.
And according to your Twitter bio, it says this: West Ashley United works to enhance our neighborhoods and businesses through advocacy and community involvement with a commitment to diversity and conservation.
Absolutely.
Tell me what it's like to be you these days.
It is stressful. It is busy. It is absolutely wonderful because West Ashley United has grown and evolved into something even bigger than I could have ever imagined it to be.
What did you imagine it to be?
Bringing all the voices of West Ashley together so that they could learn the processes of city, county, SCDOT, learn those processes, and then get involved with an educated mindset going in. But when you put 13,000 people in a group on Facebook, it's impossible to control.
How do you control that? Who influences your content?
We have admins. Okay, so we pre-approve the posts. We would like for them to be what is specific to our mission. We're a nonprofit. Okay, so we want those posts to be about our missions, the advocacy, the education, diversity. Many times, though, it gets out of control, and unfortunately, you have a vocal minority that tries to steer conversations, and in the long run, it ends up becoming very personal because many people can't, or some people can't, separate out the fact that it's okay for people to have a different opinion and still come to the table. So that has to happen in person. That can't happen on Facebook. Social media has the potential to destroy what you are trying to do in a positive way.
What are you trying to do now? What is that conversation?
Bring people to the table. Start the conversation in all of the elements. Coming up on Saturday is the longest table.
Right.
It was started as a national event focused around diversity, bringing a diverse community together to come up with ideas and solutions in their own community, outside the venue of the government. Okay, it's what we can do together to bring back ownership and pride in our own area. Because there's many things that we can do together. I hate that word, we are working with the Parks Conservancy. We're building a park. We are hoping to do more on the Greenway and Bikeway.
Oh, yeah.
And this is going to be for the public, for their enjoyment, for their transportation. Okay? I mean, it reaches across many aisles. We're working with SCDOT to get those crossings to connect. Connectivity is a huge, huge issue. So people can travel safely. Like by bike, by foot. You know, it doesn't matter if you're a walker, runner. It doesn't matter. We need the connectivity.
And I want to go back to weststuff.net. And they wrote an article about the longest table. And it reads this: the West Ashley longest table is up the ladder with a focus on discussing community action and with its proceeds to go towards, as you mentioned, the West Ashley Bikeway entry, located at the intersection of Wapu Road and Savannah Highway in Dubois part of town. Obviously, you mentioned the event will be held this Saturday at Citadel Mall, and there will be several options for lunch prepared by the culinary program of West Ashley High School.
Absolutely. So Chef Wheelis and his students are preparing all the food. He's an amazing instructor, and we can't wait. And it's going to offer a choice whether you're a vegetarian or you're an all-out meat eater. We're going to have vegetable casserole. We're going to have barbecue, mac and cheese, rice. I mean, it's going to be amazing. Amazing.
Is Swig and Swine coming?
No, this is literally food from the high school and a community event. This event, although we are in partnership with the city to help it, come, it is led by the citizens. Facilitators, we're going to have facilitators at every table asking questions on your ideas, on what you think we need to do in West Ashley. So it's total feedback from the community.
And you also said this too. Obviously, you said this quote, "This is a great opportunity for the West Ashley community to come together to share ideas and unite to support the common good." What is that common good now?
Bringing everybody together. We have a division that we need to get every person to the table, even if you disagree. Okay? That's number one. Number two is we have a diversity issue. West Ashley is extremely diverse as downtown. Okay? And all of those groups need to come together and start talking and get on the same level of the playing field. And again, whether you disagree or not, those conversations need to start. Because once the conversations start, progress comes. When there's no conversation, nothing happens. Nothing positive can happen.
How many conversations have you been having?
Tons. City council, county council, residents. Residents from every area, because you also have to realize that West Ashley is diverse in its own nature, that Avondale is completely different than outside 526. Completely different from Maryville. Okay? We need every one of these areas to come together as one. And that's my goal. And I'm not going to give up on it.
You talk about city council. Obviously, there's a big mayoral race coming up soon.
Absolutely.
And just this morning, city council member Mike Seekin says this on Twitter. He says this quote, "I'm proud to announce that I am running to serve you as the next mayor of Charleston. Our city's undergoing fast change, and we face big challenges. Whether it's flooding, traffic, or rampant growth, Charlestonians deserve a mayor." And that's part of what he said.
Right.
What are the biggest challenges that face West Ashley right now if he were to become mayor?
Okay, well, I want to back it up that I don't think West Ashley is now considered the redheaded stepchild of the city of Charleston. I think that dynamic has changed, that whether you are representing a district in West Ashley or you're representing a district downtown Daniel Island, James Island, everybody recognizes that there is a huge amount of potential in West Ashley. And it's become the focus. And it's a good thing. But we have to see how that's going to play out. Okay? So, whatever mayor ends up in place, they need to make sure that that stays a priority.
Okay.
Because we can't be considered a pass-through anymore. A pass-through from James Island to get to North Charleston, from Johns Island to get to downtown. We're not a pass-through. We are a vibrant community that is the original starting place of Charleston. And it needs to be treated as such.
And the mayoral candidate went on to say this quote, "With a plan for action and ability to get things done, we all know these issues are not solving themselves, and we need a leader who can build a consensus, manage growth, and secure the funding for major projects so that our residents aren't repeatedly taxed." Tell me, what projects or what needs funding right now in West Ashley in your mind?
Okay, from the government, obviously flooding, and I'm going to put flooding and drainage all together because they go together.
Okay.
Drainage, it needs to be brought up to standard. You know, we've got new rules on the books that needs to be across the board for every part, not just Church Creek, not just those higher standards in that area. It needs to be across the book in every area. Infrastructure. That is a really tough one. If you look at West Ashley and you think about infrastructure, what can you really do? We've got set roads. We've got roads that can't be widened. We've got roads that you can't put a bike lane on. So what's the answer? So these are the conversations that need to happen. How can we fix the infrastructure to work? Because the congestion over there it's nonstop now. It's not 9 a.m. and it's not 5 p.m. It's all day in any given area. So we need in-depth conversation between county, city, and SCDOT on what can be done. And those conversations needed to happen a long time ago because we're going in a circle. Now, as a nonprofit and working with other nonprofits, we can work on transportation and mobility through the Greenway and Bikeway, and we can help with that. But we can't solve those major issues. Only the government can, and they need to do it now. Point blank.
And how do you fix growth in your mind in West Ashley?
So, this is a question that arguments come out of, okay, many times, because you have property rights. You can't tell that person they can't build something on land that they own. But is it right for the area that it's going into? Is it going to cause more problems? Okay? In the city, we have processes you have to go through, starting with the TRC all the way up to Planning Commission when it comes to residential, commercial, all the way to City Council. Okay? So you need to step back and look at the processes that we are going through and take a good hard look at our zoning and everything up to that point and make sure that it all matches the area, that everybody is going to be happy with what's coming in, because we still need growth in order to survive. So it's maybe not the government that's broken, but it's all the processes along the way. And I know that they're working on it. Okay? So, for example, take City Council. Replace everybody there with somebody new. If they follow all the laws and regulations and processes and ordinance and variances and everything else out there, okay, you're still in the same situation. That developer comes in and says, I've got every right to do under your law what I want to do. And if you're telling me no, well, I'm gonna sue. So something has to change along the way to make sure that what we're doing up to the point that it gets the Planning Commission or Council is for the best interest of whatever community, whether it's West Ashley, James Island, downtown, doesn't matter. Those processes have to be perfect or in order correctly.
And let me get back to this mayoral race. Obviously, I'm not endorsing anybody. I don't do that.
I don't either.
Right. But if you were to bring those mayoral candidates to the table, Mayor John Tecklenburg, Mike Seekins, Gary White,
Absolutely.
Maurice Washington, Harry Griffin, and of course, Will Freeman, what is that one question you ask them right now?
What would you do, or what processes would you change to ensure that development and infrastructure going forward would be for the best interest of the residents of our city?
And I know just recently you posted this on your West Ashley United Facebook page on April 23rd, and you basically gave a public service announcement to the citizens there that says this: The countywide flood prevention task force committee will meet Monday, August 8th to 29th, that is, at 6 p.m. And the meeting will be held at the North Charleston City Council
Yep.
chambers. How do you prevent flood in Charleston County in 2019?
There is many levels you can do. A lot of residents don't understand the backside processes that's been going on in the past. That being permits that were submitted by the county and the city that were denied to clear drains because they were on outside the critical buffer. Okay, so the delegation has been working on that, and a lot of resolutions come from that, and it's been part of these meetings. So drainage, getting a maintenance plan in place that is consistent and ongoing. It can't be hit or miss. You can't step up and say, we've got this right before a storm hits. Okay? It doesn't work that way. So there are drainage studies going on to make sure that they are good enough to handle our drainage system. So, and it needs to be that way across the board. All the drainage systems, they need to be brought up to par. Better than par in my mind. Residents, they can be a part of it. Did you know you can adopt a drain in the city of Charleston? In your neighborhood? And all it takes is making sure once a week, once a day, however, you go out and you make sure that drain is not clogged. And if it is, you call a number, somebody comes out and clears it. People don't know that. And that goes back to education.
What else should people be educated about when it comes to West Ashley United?
We are not, although we started out as a Facebook group almost 4 years ago as a West Ashley mayoral forum, we are not just a Facebook group. We've evolved, we've grown, we are a nonprofit, and our Facebook group, starting soon, is going to also evolve. It needs to be driven in a positive manner. You would not walk into somebody's home and start an argument with that person that their thoughts and opinions were wrong and attack them. You wouldn't do it. So don't do it in a Facebook group that's dedicated to bringing change, positive change, to a community. So we are going to reel that in. And then we are going to concentrate in person. We have a board. We have a set agenda. And we are going to concentrate on what we can do on the ground as a grassroots organization, working with other nonprofits as well to do everything we can to make it better.
And I know this might be a simplistic question, but what else should be people should be educated about when it comes to West Ashley?
We're an amazing community. We are dynamic. We are diverse. In so many different levels, we are diverse. We need that pride and ownership. And every resident needs to be educated in the processes, all the processes, city, county, SCDOT, CCSD, all of it. That way they can become involved. And when I say involved, that means showing up at meetings. For those that can't show up at meetings, contact your council person by email. Okay? There are ways to be involved without having to attend those meetings. Because people work. People have, obligations that they can't be there at 5 o'clock. But they need to be informed of all the rules, the regulations. When I go to bed at night, my light reading is a Muni code. Okay? People need to understand every process so they can come to the table or through email or whatever venue with that informed voice.
5 years from now, what do you hope people will say actually about West Ashley United?
That we united a very, very diverse community. And that community took ownership and pride in their area. And from that came amazing projects. That's what I want to see.
Teresa Tidestrom, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
Thank you.